they don't necessarily give it much thought. They just do it as they're working in the mob. You understand?
Yes, yes.
While others instead give it great importance, and for them the ritual part is very important. So they are dragged into it by the ritual, by the theatrical part, by the great orgies that might go on in certain levels. You know, there is a great orgies of tantra. Tantra is very important, but also being in control of sex is very important. If you are a sexual athlete, then you are a great secret agent for the Illuminati that can then blackmail people for information they get during these various rituals.
Interesting.
It's all a blackmail situation at the end, in which, as I said, the Jesuits are dominating because they are in contact with the heads of all these secret societies involved in black magic that usually cover themselves under the name of Rosicrucians. Rosicrucian this, Rosicrucian that. But right. In reality, the cover-up is that the great emperor on top is always working for the Jesuits.
Yeah, that's quite a controversial issue. Many people are afraid to talk about that. Is it true that they actually hold rituals beneath the Vatican? You hear these rumors about catacombs being down below the churches and so forth. Do you know anything about that?
I obviously knew about that because I was in contact with people who were involved in these masses. I testified about black mass that occurred back in May 2000 in Rome. I didn't attend it because unfortunately I didn't have at that time the degree to attend such ritual. Only the heads of the organizations I belonged to were part of this whole thing. Amongst them there was William Breeze, the head of the Ordo Templi Orientis Caliphate organization, which is connected to the Satanist Aleister Crowley. Then there was Massimo Introvigne, who is himself a representative of Alleanza Cattolica, of the worst Catholic fundamentalism. He is himself has a very important center for the study of new religions, which is called CESNUR. And he himself was renting his house to Alberto Moscato. And recently, he actually came out with a big article on a Catholic publication. You have to understand that Massimo Introvigne is very close to the Pope.
Yes.
And the Pope obviously participated himself to the Black Mass when he was a cardinal. And together with him also his gay lover, because he has a gay lover that people in Rome know about. It's quite well known that the Pope has a gay lover. But it was a big news when this went on the Truth Movement conspiracy sites. And so Massimo Introvigne obviously wrote an article criticizing the Truth Movement, saying that the 9/11 thing was a complete scam, that there was no conspiracy behind 9/11. And he then criticized me and Greg Zismansky, saying that he never met Alberto Moscato, and that he himself was thinking this black mass was irrealistic and it wasn't true, when we know very well from publications even given out by Massimo Introvigne that he has participated to many black masses. He himself, strangely enough, is a representative of the Vatican, but participates to black masses because he says he's studying them. and he in reality has achieved the 11th degree of the Illuminati, which is the homosexual degree, because he's an homosexual.
Right.
And in that case, you receive the 11th degree. The 11th degree goes through a consecration and through an episcopate that is held by one of these wandering bishops that are not officially in the Vatican, working for the Vatican, but are part of these many Gnostic churches. But these Gnostic churches are all controlled by the Jesuits. And so basically, Michael Berthiaud, who is the head of the Coronzo Club, and he is also the bishop who has control over the 11th degree for the OTO.
Yeah, it seems like the Jesuits have their hands in just about everything. Any comment on that?
Well, I had a very sad experience lately of a Jesuit who was the Secretary for Interreligious Dialogue of the Jesuits, Thomas Michel. I met him in May this year, and I said what a really wonderful person he was. I was very surprised to meet a Jesuit like this, and I was very surprised that he was still alive, actually, doing what he was doing. And in fact, he suddenly had a car crash and is now in coma. And
that's too bad.
Obviously, the car crash was arranged for him by the Jesuits, and he was not obviously following what the Jesuits wanted him to follow. They are killers and very dangerous assassins, yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's...
next year they have the elections of the new general. So there is a big movement inside the order at the moment for who has to become the new general.
Well, we'll have to keep our eyes on that issue as it develops, certainly. Do you have any knowledge as to why these pedophile priests are getting away with molesting so many children? Is this actually a plan to, destroy the Catholic Church?
No, it's the Catholic Church has always been involved in homosexuality and pedophilia from the beginning of time.
Right.
From the ancient time of the Roman emperors, I mean, the Roman emperors were themselves, as you know, involved in this kind of thing.
Yes.
And the Vatican substitutes the Roman emperor with the Pope, who is himself the emperor, and at that point he takes on all the perversions that go with it. The structure of the Vatican is in the hands of the pedophiles. So people like Cardinal Ruini is a notorious pedophile, but he's also one of the people who is in control of the Vatican. How are you going to oppose Cardinal Ruini?
Yeah, it's kind of a situation where they're self-investigating and they're not going to find themselves guilty of anything, I wouldn't imagine.
They have, as I said, a real and proper network of priests in the Vatican, and lately, just a couple of weeks ago, on Italian TV there has been a scandal because they had infiltrated a gay prostitute, male prostitute inside the Vatican, and one of the leaders of the what is the Congregation for the Doctrines of Faith became involved in this scandal because obviously they showed with a hidden camera that this guy was completely perverse, and that the whole thing was he then came back after a week stating on the Vatican radio that he himself was trying to infiltrate the people who want to ruin the image of the Catholic Church. Imagine that.
Wow.
So the Vatican is always trying to defend themselves. They always manage to invent something to take themselves out of the problem. And so he didn't give up his job, he didn't give up his position, he's still there, and I don't know now his name, I have it somewhere, but you can go and find it for yourself, because the scandal, I think to some extent, has appeared on the news, though it's difficult that it appears on the international news, because the Vatican is very powerful in manipulating the news.